Superbooth 24. I'm here on the booth of Jolin or Jolin Tech.
Yeah.
With Frederico.
Hi there.
How are you?
Hi Tom. Fine.
You're a company from Italy.
From Italy, yes. From Milano. Yes, we are based there.
You are doing something really unique because your designs are often or most very experimental.
Thank you so much. Yes, our philosophy is to combine experimental sound sources and then pretty versatile and compact utilities to tame them so that you can get the most out of them and let them interact with other gears and other instruments. So to start with complex sound waves and organical analog sources, and then to shape them into something more less complex using other tools and utilities.
Where do you take your ideas? Is it all this experimental? Is it coming from the dark side of synthesis, or is it something you try combine like East Coast, West Coast, or do you have a noise making community? Or?
Yeah, I take my sources. Actually, at the beginning, my first synthesizer that I had was a Benjamin from Borobordyke, and I built that from scratch, starting from bare components, and that really inspired me. And I think that my way of interpreting electronic music is to think about it as an instrument that needs to be understood and played organically. So that was my first approach to synthesis, and that's what I like also to make as Aerorack modules. And since I play also them, all of the designs comes from a need.
Because they look also very unique. I remember your first module was this big oscillator.
Yeah, it's Tabor. Tabor comes from experimenting with thousands of transistor-based oscillators on breadboards, and 5 of them were singing and doing this crazy stuff, and we took them apart and made Tabor as a standalone unit. After that, we needed something to tame it and control it, so we made a go-go. There is a matrix of low-pass gate, and that also was the second one, and then a series of utilities, mixers and filters, stereo VCA, to actually get the most out of it. And after all of these utilities and tools, we are now coming with Avalith. Avalith is, of course, the result of studying these kind of oscillators that all started with Tabor. Yeah.
Okay, and I think you have also released or announced for Superbooth probably one of the experimental releases of the Superbooth.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment, since
one of the unique ones, because it's not a usual oscillator or filter.
Yeah, I think that I love my analog and digital oscillators that I already have, and I think that they are all reliable, and I don't feel the need on making another oscillator at the moment with those features, because the ones that I have are already perfect. For example, the even VCO from Befaco or a place for mutable instruments are one of my must go, and I love them to that purpose. And all my other sound sources are the ones that I like to make are instruments that you can play on your own and tune them and understand them, and actually even participate in the sound building with yourself while communicating with the machine at the same time. So maybe a subtle change of a node create a different sound structure, and that can take you to another.
What I maybe forgot to ask, Jolin Tech is it a bigger company, or it's just you? Or
Jolene is just me, so I'm the one responsible for designing and also the manufacturing of the modules. And being that kind of a personal project, I'm sure that all the designs are how I like to make them. But at the same time, I collaborate with other artists and engineers and other people, so that I'm sure that they can all integrate in a system and we can share knowledge. For example, Marco Zoppi is really good sound designer. I collaborate with them. Alessio Mosti, that is a sound artist, and other people that we work with. Giacomo Tombolan, a really good electronic engineer. And I'm so lucky to have all these people around me, and we can talk and exchange ideas and create stuff.
So it's a community, really.
Yeah, kind of.
And your new one is the Avalith or the Avalith, or in Italy. Is it where did the idea come from to making such a unique drone synth?
Yeah, the idea came from these thousands of oscillators that we have in the studio on breadboard that we built when at the first year of Jolin with Pedro, that was another friend with which we started. And these oscillators were so unique in the sense of interaction with them because of all the different sound waves that you can make and the patch points that you can create. And I was missing that part in my Eurorack system. So I was like, okay, but I cannot take with me some thousands of breadboards and oscillators there. It's so uncomfortable, even if we did that back in the days. And that's why Avalith was a need for that reason. And after a year of development, we are finally there, and it's available.
It's a Eurorack, also Eurorack
yes,
model.
It's also a Eurorack model, a 68 HP. And as soon as you take it out of its case, you can power it with your system. And you have also a power selector switch here for where you can.
And so, what are the core features of it? It's a drone synth. It has 100 oscillators.
Yes, it's specifically made for drone enthusiasts or even ambient enthusiasts, or whatever would like a really complex sound source that they can shape into however you'd like it to be. So 1000 oscillator is not just a claim for marketing. Because I always say that those are raw oscillator, in the sense you cannot fine tune each one of them volt per octave, because there will be no sense of having 100 tuned oscillator. So those are really raw waves. We are dealing with actual transistor and electricity at this level, and summing all these ramps that are created thanks also to this transistor and capacitors. Summing all these ramps, you get really a dense signal, and each one of the banks can be used also individually if you want, with its own input and output, or all together with the main filter. The buttons are all assignable for performance, and the patch bay, as you can see here, can be used to achieve even more sounds and to get way more deep into the synth. But it's not mandatory, and you can bypass it if you want at the beginning to just start learn the synth by itself.
And the patching CV, what you're patching in, it's a CV or what kind of?
What you on the top row, you have the output of the individual oscillators for each banks, and each banks have two flavors of oscillators with different frequency, so 20 frequency in total. And you can patch this top row to the below row, and in below row we have individual connection for ground for each banks, so that you can activate it. For example, here we assigned the button to the ground of this specific band, and this activates when we are playing. So during a performance, if you're uncomfortable in patching a small DuPont cable, you can assign them to the buttons and just use them sort of as a strange keyboard in a way. And then, so this is the whole the banks, how the banks works. And you have also an output for each one of the banks that you can patch. So to send that signal to the main filter, or to, if you want to exclude it, you can unpatch it. So to have just the banks that you want with the frequency that you want in that case.
So you have 100 oscillators split it in different banks, 10 banks.
Yes.
And then it fed into a filter, right?
Yes, they're fed into a 4-pole state variable filter that you can see here. You have a shade control that is actually the frequency control of the filter, and a feedback control, as you can see, is a control takes deal of the resonance of the filter. And having 100 sound waves all mixed together will not make much sense without a filter able to manage them and to actually close them all together, and from there start adding more sounds, and then that's why we choose the name Shade, because I think that the concept of shading the oscillators and actually creates a sort of a mask to them is gives an idea of what this filter does. We have, of course, CV inputs for the filter, and the shade control also have an attenuverter on the inputs, so that they can actually...
And I see you also added something for more noise, the feedback.
Yeah. The feedback is dealing with the resonance of the filter, and you have a CV console for it, and this way, when all the oscillators are running slowly, you can create these liquid sounds.
So the filter can also self-oscillate.
Yeah, kind of. But having all of the oscillators all together, the feedback and the resonance control, they have a trimmer on the back of the module, so you can set up however you like it to be more aggressive or less.
Can we also hear it?
Yeah, of course. So now we have nothing patched in the input and output cable, and even the filter is without any modulation. And as we can see, we are also getting some peak and envelope output out of the bank, so we can control also other instruments. Now all the banks are active with their outputs going to the filter. We can actually patch, let's take one output for one of the lowest frequency oscillators, because they go from really low to high frequency to the attenuverting input of the filter. So this way we can have a control. Is a tool that where you are experiencing with it and playing and modulating all the different oscillators together, can be an expressive tool for a drum musician to have access to all these different oscillators and frequency. And it, as an instrument, it takes some time to be studied and understood in the possibilities. We have also an input preamp where we can send external signals to the oscillators and have them together, so pre-filter, or have the external signal post-filter to hear it regardless of the oscillators.
Okay. And so that it goes out in the mono, so it's everything is mono.
Yes, it's mono synth, but since you have individual output for each banks, you can add it to an external mixer and shape the individual banks of oscillators in all the ways that you like.
And in Eurorack, you could also then shape them further and so on.
Yes. Since it's Eurorack compatible and it accepts CV at Eurorack level and it sends CV at Eurorack level, it's perfectly compatible in an Eurorack environment.
And what makes the inputs, the Eurorack inputs?
So the inputs, we have an inputs for the global starve, so that is this control here, where we have this control that regulates the amount of voltage that goes to the different banks of oscillator. There is a global input for that, and even individual inputs for each one of the controls. So you can really fine-tune this oscillator. And as I said, the buttons are assignable. At the moment, we assign this one, but you can, you can even patch one a single output for one oscillator and then just have that one going into the filter, if you like. Now it's in the most chaotic setup, so it's set up as all 10 banks active with all the normalization active.
And the oscillators have a different character than the usual.
Yes, because those are transistor-based oscillators. They generate ramps with a different frequency, and since they're all summed in banks, the output is pretty chaotic, and they gives you this even a small can give subtle changes to even the small. And the module itself is the synth itself is powered by USB-C and USB-C power delivery. So this means that it accepts 20 volt and it can sense 20 volt by passing them to another compatible case, if you'd like, to make the perfect standalone drone experience where you have Avalith and then a small maybe effect case, and to power them from a single power bank. The filter is quite mandatory for a synth like this one, and is a part of the unit itself. So, yeah.
That sounds rich and dirty and experimental. Is this box already available?
Yes, they are already available on the website, and each one of them is made on order. So, and also some retailers like Schneider's Lasen and Perfect Circuit are gonna have some units of them, and we presented them on the first day of Superbooth, and we are pretty glad. Yeah.
Okay, and price point?
Price was is 11.89 euros for the whole unit with its aluminum case and a USB-C cable. And it comes with everything needed also to adapt it to a rack case, so the power ribbon and another set of screws, and
Okay. Thank you, Frederico.
Thank you, Tom, for passing by.
And I hope you enjoy the last hours of Superbooth 24.
I hope so.
And big thanks, and hope to see you again in the next video. Bye.
Bye, Tom.